Hello, I'm Doug White, and welcome to NBC 10 Biographies. In recent years, Southern New England has begun challenging Hollywood's reputation. In this episode, we will meet three individuals who are responsible for making that happen. Michael Corrente, a Rhode Island native, chose Federal Hill and Pawtucket as locations for some of his best movies. The Farrelly brothers grew up in Cumberland and have turned their teenage antics into blockbuster films. We begin this edition of NBC 10 Biographies with Michael Corrente.
Michael Corrente was born in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. He was raised, along with a brother and four sisters, in a loving and closely knit working-class family. The Correntes moved to Coventry when Michael was 14. As a student, a school trip to attend a play had a dramatic impact on Michael's future.
10 o'clock in the morning, 700 students. I can guarantee you the last place they wanted to be was watching A Man for All Seasons on stage at Trinity Rep. However...
But you fell in love.
Oh, the curtain came up. It changed my life.
After high school, Corrente studied theater at Trinity Repertory before moving to New York. He met his future wife, actress Libby Langdon. She encouraged him to turn a play he had written into a movie.
You know, they worked together hard, and she pushed them and said, we're going to do this film, and we'll set a date to do it, to start shooting, and they set the date, and that's when they started.
Whoa. You ever been up here?
Making his first film on a bare-bones budget was a constant challenge for the young director.
He was very nervous because he didn't have the funds. He was raising it as he went. I believe Nick Totoro was the highest paid character in the film. He was? Yeah, and that was week to week. Michael would just wonder where that would come from week to week. Literally charge cards was a lot of the film. Yeah. It was touch and go all the way. And you could tell he was nervous. He was stressed out a lot.
Need a pound of fresh linguine.
Set in an Italian-American neighborhood, Federal Hill told a tale of young men struggling with conflicting values and loyalties.
You're not going to be at the game,
No, I'm not.
You weren't going to tell me, right?
No, I wasn't.
That's not good, Nicky.
When shooting was completed, Corrente began the difficult task of editing his story.
I think he got the machines from New York and he had them shipped up, and he had a friend who had a building up on North Main Street, and he actually set up his edit booth on the second floor. And boy, was it hot up there. And I would go up there and there would be, strips of celluloid hanging over the garbage cans because it was before the time of digital editing, and he just slaved away up there and he edited Federal Hill right here in the downtown Providence.
Michael Corrente had made his first film. The big question was, would people pay to see it?
He wanted characters that he knew, and he wanted us to, even though they weren't the nicest of characters, to like them. And so there's a certain likability there, even among the losers of the world, that he brings out. I think that's kind of remarkable.
The film was a financial success. Corrente had taken his first step down the long and difficult road to a career as a film director.
He was a money-making director all of a sudden. With a hit film, at least in one market. It got very good reviews in Boston, and it did some business up there. And from there, that was sort of the springboard. I mean, I understand that Dustin Hoffman had seen it and liked it, and that's one of the reasons he got involved in American Buffalo. He liked this young director.
How's your bacon? They always get up.
Corrente's next project was a major leap forward. As the director of American Buffalo, he would be working with two legendary actors, Dennis Franz and Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah, some guy. Yeah.
The film was based on a play by David Mamet. It was a gritty look at a couple of streetwise characters and a young boy who was caught up in their dubious scheme to commit a robbery.
Sure it isn't like the bowling league. Fletch doesn't show up, we just suit up Bobby, give him a shot, and he goes in. I'm sorry. I spoke in anger. I'm sorry. Nobody can make mistakes around here but me. I'm sorry, Bob. I'm very sorry.
It's okay.
Corrente captured powerful performances from the cast of American Buffalo, but the film received mixed reviews.
I liked it a lot, and it did get some very good reviews in Boston and other places. In some places it got very bad reviews. And financially it did not do tremendously well, despite the Hoffman and Franz connection. It's a tough film. David Mamet's stories always are. They're certainly They have tough characters, they're mean, they're outside the law, they're a bunch of losers.
What's this?
Corrente's next project would bring him into collaboration with another Rhode Island filmmaker. Outside Providence was based on a book by Peter Farrelly.
Brown University, they got one of these in Providence.
There's only one, Dom. Just read it.
Outside Providence told the story of a hard-luck teenager from Pawtucket, forced to attend a strict New England prep school.
What's a prep school?
It's to prepare you for not getting your neck broke by me.
Much of the film was shot at the Cranston Street Armory, a cavernous structure that Corrente transformed into a soundstage.
So this is a dorm room that we've built here, which will double for one of the sets on location. And what's fun about this is at one point in the movie, one of the actors walks out onto the ledge, and that's sort of how it'll work in the movies. This will all be slate. This whole roof will be slate. When you see the final film, the shot that he's now taking will be 3 stories up, and you'll never know that this set is, as I jump off the roof, right on the ground.
There were high expectations for the film, which boasted the talents of actor Alec Baldwin.
A little girl you're running with?
What about her?
Let me tell you something. It's just as much the guy's responsibility as it is the girl's. Don't go getting your little friend there in trouble.
But the film did not do as well as expected. The problem may have been the way the studio chose to promote the movie.
From the Farrelly brothers, the guys who made There's Something About Mary, comes something that will really make your hair stand on end.
No matter what you are.
Sounds like a real classic broad.
I think they sold it to people thinking who would go in thinking that it was going to be a laugh out loud comedy, and there were many funny things in it, but it was more of a coming-of-age movie. It led to expectations of something that was not there on the screen. Most people I know in New York and even in Hollywood that I talked to afterwards, they liked it a lot, and I said, we've got to, you know, this is not the kind of movie we'd ordinarily go see, but we really liked it. Let's go tell our friends, but apparently there wasn't enough of that.
Corrente's affection for his home state has remained strong throughout his career.
I remember after we were shooting American Buffalo, Entertainment Tonight did 2 stories, national stories about Rhode Island in 1 half-hour episode. And about a day went by and I got a phone call from Michael, and he started with, "Rick, did you see it?" And I went, "Yes, I did." And Michael was so enthusiastic, and I was too, and I think people need to understand he really has an affection for Rhode Island and likes to see us in a positive light.
He was standing right here by the door. Okay, Alan.
This talented director's star continues to rise, fueled by new projects and tempting offers from major film studios. But those who know Michael best say that the glitter of show business has not changed him.
That's the one thing I notice about him, is that he hasn't changed. He's still himself, which I think is the most important thing of all, you know, because I think if it changed you, then it wouldn't be worth it.
He's still Michael. He's still Michael. He just is, you know, sometimes you're talking to him and you know he's not really listening because he's got a million other things on his mind.
Right, you can see the wheels turning.
Yeah, so you just, okay, never mind.
One thing seems certain. Michael Corrente will continue to define success on his own terms.
He's a very independent-minded guy, so he doesn't want to go the Hollywood route. I don't know if something came along and they said, you know, direct the next Farrelly Brothers movie or direct the next Michelle Pfeiffer or Harrison Ford movie. I don't know if he would take it or not, because he really likes to get involved all the way through. I mean, his fingerprints are on the whole movie, like it or not. Whether he wants to become, you know, the next famous director, I don't think he really cares about that. He's really married to independent film in a lot of ways.
The story of Peter and Bobby Farrelly, next on NBC 10 Biographies.
Peter and Bobby Farrelly were born in Cumberland, Rhode Island. No one expected that these fun-loving rascals would one day entertain millions with their mischievous imaginations. Their first film, Dumb and Dumber, was a low-budget surprise hit.
Excuse me, gentlemen. This is a $500 plate dinner. Good night. Oh, $500. Oh, okay. All right, no problem. Here, put us down for 4.
in case we want seconds.
I think that the reason they didn't expect it was because, well, this is sort of a low-budget comedy, and these are just two guys from nowhere. They're writing, they're directing this thing, and they gave them a shot. I mean, it was really quite incredible that they got a shot at directing, never having been on a movie set, never knowing exactly what they were supposed to do.
The brothers quickly acquired a reputation for lowbrow humor that earned them the title, the Kings of Gross-Out Comedy. However, it's a label they do not appreciate.
A man's penis getting stuck in his zipper is not exactly for the tame of heart. But on the other hand, one thing that they do have in most of their films is a character that you really like and who's really sweet. And there's almost an innocence about them, even when they're being gross out. There's a playfulness there. And so I think it's just labeling them that is very unfair.
Following the success of Dumb and Dumber, the Farrellys released their next comedy. Kingpin was the quirky story of a one-armed bowling champion.
Don't you need a coach, friend, a brother?
Some critics have called it one of their best movies, and in fact, in some recent reviews of Me, Myself, and Irene, their latest movie, some people were raving about Kingpin.
The film premiered in Rhode Island, creating a local celebration that has become a ritual for the Farrelly brothers.
And because they shoot a portion of their picture here, each one, in order to stay connected to home, they always premiere the picture here. To say hello, to say thanks, and to come and have a good time.
Unfortunately, Kingpin faced some serious competition when it was released. Not from other films, but from a far more formidable challenger, the Summer Olympics.
No one was going to the movies then. For some reason, they were preferring to watch synchronized swimming and water polo, I guess, than a hard-edged movie about, hard-edged comedy, I should say, about a bowler, a one-armed bowler at that.
Despite the fact that Kingpin did not do as well at the box office as the Farrellys might have hoped, they launched right into their next big project.
Got some excellent news for you, my friend.
Oh, yeah? Excellent?
I think your life's about to change.
Really? So you found her?
Oh, yeah.
The film would feature plenty of the slapstick and sight gags that fans had come to expect from a Farrelly Brothers film. But there would be something different about this next film.
The comedy's a lot like Dumb and Dumber and Kingpin. It's just that we tried something radically different with this movie, and I think it worked. We put a plot in, and that's been very helpful. And in fact, I think it's our best movie.
So are you going to the prom?
Huh?
One important element of the film's success was the choice by the brothers of the leading lady in their movie.
Maybe we could go together.
Peter called me a while, or we met somewhere, and he was saying, well, what do you think of Cameron Diaz? And I said, who was just starting out as in her career in Hollywood. She'd made actually several movies, but really low-budget movies and not that well known yet. And I said, you know, every time she's on the screen, she just lights it up. And I thought that was a great choice, but they were still not quite sure. They did hire her, and she was just so wonderful and magical. And Ben Stiller, an actor who can be pretty grungy, was really rather charming as the guy who was pursuing her across country. And Matt Dillon, who hadn't had a hit in a long time, was suddenly this, he added a mustache to his face, and he was this kind of slick, sleazy guy. And the chemistry was just there between all those characters.
Is he looking at you?
Something About Mary continued the Farrelly brothers' tradition of challenging the limits of good taste in a major motion picture. But the secret of the film's success may have been a touch of innocence that counterbalanced the crass sight gags.
What? In Louvre? Well, once. Mary. Oh, God.
No matter how slimy some of the things were and so how outrageous, there was always this kind of frat boys, sweet innocence about it, and the characters were very wonderful. So that even though I thought it did drag a bit toward the end, people really loved that movie.
Despite the crazy antics taking place on the screen, the Farrelly brothers are recognized as talented, hard-working, and disciplined filmmakers.
I remember shooting down at the Hot Club, and Peter Farrelly was behind the monitors watching the acting. and Matt Dillon was doing his lines, and then he would yell, I said, all right, all right, all right. That's the kind of filmmaking is very relaxed but very focused, and they made Matt Dillon do that particular line about 12 times. And I was standing there watching, waiting for Matt to get up. Hey, how many times do I have to? But because they set up a certain quality of feeling on the set, it's like, okay, we'll keep doing it until we get it right. And Peter would run around and just talk to him a little bit and come back. And I was impressed by the amount of work that Peter Farrelly could get his actors to do over and over and over again, very hard. And it was great to watch it and to see them produce such a result.
Whatever the magic formula, the Farrelly brothers had once again struck pay dirt. Something About Mary was a box office mega hit.
That was a smash success, and after that it seemed like they could do no wrong, and as far as Hollywood was concerned. They got Me, Myself, and Irene with Jim Carrey, who was in their first movie, Dumb and Dumber. They're producing all sorts of other films, including an animated film, so let's just hope they don't spread themselves too thin.
The boys from Cumberland set their sights on their next big project. It was a wacky comedy about a state trooper with a split personality. For the lead role, they chose comedian Jim Carrey. The story would take place right in Rhode Island. The Farrelly brothers were coming home.
NBC 10 Biographies will continue after these messages.
Peter and Bobby Farrelly began shooting their next comedy, Me, Myself, and Irene, in May of 1999. The state of Rhode Island welcomed the talented duo back with open arms.
People love the Farrellys. They just love them. They're so easy to work with, and it's always been a great shoot. And people enjoy their film so much, I think it just creates an ambience for them.
The hero of Me, Myself, and Irene was a state trooper with a split personality.
A schizo. I don't remember any of this.
The state police have a near legendary status in Rhode Island. Convincing the organization to cooperate in the production of a zany comedy was a delicate matter.
Part of my job was to talk to the state police and set up some meetings with them and the Farrellys and the producers to make sure that the image was what they wanted.
They take themselves very seriously, as they should, and they have a lot of pride, and they didn't want us to make fun of them, so they read the script, and then they approved it.
A mental health advocacy group that felt the movie trivialized the plight of those suffering from schizophrenia criticized the film.
What's it called?
Advanced delusionary schizophrenia with involuntary narcissistic rage.
One of their boyhood friends is retarded, and he was not only in There's Something About Mary, but served as a basis for one of the characters, and they're very fond of this guy, so I don't think they would do this on purpose.
We never set out to offend anybody, and this to us was a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde movie, and we didn't expect to get the people who are the schizophrenic groups. We're sorry about that. We certainly didn't intend it, and our apologies.
The Farrelly brothers were accustomed to taking criticism in stride, but they bristled when a reporter who had not seen the film questioned its portrayal of the state police.
Not a great look at the state police, even, it's kind of mocking them a little bit.
I disagree entirely. Have you seen the movie? Well, then that's ridiculous. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Make such a stupid statement?
What do you guys have? Moronic. Okay.
I just wanted to ask you guys, you guys come back home and everyone's...
That's idiotic. That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. It's a great look. If you didn't see the movie, they look tremendous.
I think you just touched on a nerve. They're real sweethearts. I mean, you can still call them up, and they answer your phone calls, personally, even though they have all these other irons in the fire. So they're really nice guys, and I have yet to see, although they now have more people around them and layers of people, I really haven't seen that success has changed them all that much.
Me, Myself, and Irene did not match the box office returns of their smash hit, Something About Mary, but it added to the growing reputation of the Farrelly brothers.
Now they've elevated themselves to star status. Even though they're not on the screen, people still, they follow the name. Oh yeah, those are the guys who make funny pictures. So they have a reputation with the audience. not a lot of directors are known in the public consciousness. And the Farrellys, I think, have a tremendous future because people are loyal to their pictures, because they know who they are.
Even their critics concede that Peter and Bobby Farrelly have proven beyond a doubt that movie audiences still have a healthy appetite for slapstick comedy.
NBC 10 Biographies will be right back.
Thank you for being with us. I'm Doug White, and be sure to join us next time for another edition of NBC 10 Biographies.